All right, so it still comes down to energy balance, which is multifactorial, and it's not just about calories in versus calories out. There can be many things that affect that energy balance. So if you want to stay the same weight, you need your energy balance, which works on an average over time, to stay the same. So essentially what this means is your output needs to be the same as your input if you want to stay the same weight. So if you're already lean and you want to stay lean, you want to keep your energy balance the same. But if you want to get leaner, like you want to lose some body fat, well, you just need to create a deficit. So your output, how much energy you expend, needs to be greater than your input. Think of it like your bank account. You can't just save up all your money during the week and then go and blow it all on the weekend. If you have $1,000 by the weekend and then you go and blow it all on the weekend, you're still zero. Yeah, it doesn't really work like that. It's great that you had a great week and you save lots of money, but if you go and blow it on the weekend, you've still blown it. You still don't have any money. So if you can spend it when you like. You just need to make sure that you're spending less than what you're actually saving, or you're spending the same amount as what you're saving, so your bank balance stays the same. So if you get paid, and let's say you originally had $500 in your account, and then you get paid, and that goes from 500 to 1,000. All right, so you now have a deficit, technically a calorie deficit. That's great. If you want to stay the same, then you would only spend $500 throughout the week or on the weekend, so you're back down to 500. If 500 is your savings amount. If you go below that 500, you're technically in a surplus of spendings. So you're actually spending more than what you're saving. So if you want to get leaner, you need to shift to a slight calorie deficit. And it only needs to be about 200 or 300 calories a day. I think this is one problem that a lot of people do is when they first take on a diet or a change of lifestyle in their eating, they go quite extreme and they'll shoot for like 1,000 calorie deficit. And yes, a deficit is a deficit, so you'll definitely lose weight. But that's the problem. The weight will come maybe via fluid. It may come via muscle mass. And then maybe a little bit might be body fat. This has to be the long game. You have to take the long game approach. 200 or 300 calories doesn't seem like much, and it will take a little bit of time to see a bit of difference, but 200 calories a day over a week is 1,400 calories for the week, which is quite a fair bit. That slowly starts to add up in kilograms of body fat lost, especially when you start to look at it over a month. You've now lost 56, you're now into a 5,600 calorie deficit, which is good. It's going to come. The weight loss is going to come. The fat loss is going to come as long as you're really consistent with that deficit. Now, 3 kind of strategies that I would start off with. You don't necessarily need to go and track your calories on MyFitnessPal or anything like that. You definitely can if you like to do something like that. But if you don't like doing that, that's fair enough. You probably don't even need to start there, to be honest. It is rather inaccurate. We're not great at measuring the exact calorie content of food, and then measuring your actual food. It's all a little bit like, okay, we're close, but it's not an exact science. But there are some strategies that are quite simple that you can do that would definitely lead to a reduction in caloric intake. So the first one is to start eating at regular times during the day. Okay? The second one would be to slow down your eating and check, and the third one would be to check in on your hunger before you eat and how full you are after you eat. So these are 3 simple strategies that all lead to a reduction in calories. You ask, how? Okay, so the first one, eating at the same time each day, or at least a window, means that you're going to be less likely to skip a meal and then potentially binge afterwards. And you're adding, and it reduces your potential to add in excessive picking and snacking, where it's really hard to actually track and know how much you've eaten, because if you're just picking and snacking, you're never really getting fully satisfied. So you could easily overconsume calories by picking and snacking because you're not actually sure how much you're intaking. You're not using that internal kind of calibrator to know how much you've eaten, like whether you've eaten enough, which is your fullness or your hunger cues. So, you know, there's a lot like, how often should you eat, etc., etc. It's got to be based around your hunger. So how hungry you're getting, you just want to avoid getting too hungry too often. So every 3 to 4 hours is a pretty good place to start. So for example, you might eat at 8 a.m, 12 p.m, 4 p.m, 8 p.m. There you go. There's every 4 hours. It doesn't have to be like that. You choose it based on your hunger and your goals. The next one is to slow down your eating. So by slowing down, you're giving your stomach a chance to let your brain know that you've eaten enough. So the next time you buy a pizza or a burger, I want you to eat it slowly as possible. Put a timer on your phone, shoot for like 20 minutes. Just like take as long as you possibly can and let me know if you finish that burger or pizza. Inherently, if you eat half a pizza versus eating a whole pizza, that's half the amount of calories. Boom, we've already reduced your caloric intake for that day. Okay, the last one is to check in with your hunger before you eat and then how full you are after you eat. So what you might notice is that the longer the gap between your meals, the hungrier you'll get at your next meal, which can lead to overeating and also, after you've overeaten, feeling sick and full and just really gross afterwards. So even though you're like creating these big gaps, if you're eating lots at the actual meal, you might be over consuming because your hunger, you're eating fast, you're just consuming calories because you've just got this strong desire to eat. If you do this too often, this can obviously lead to total caloric intake being way too high and you gain weight. Okay, so that's from kind of like what you're putting in point of view. Now, a putting out point of view, the first place a lot of people go to is exercise, formal exercise. Now, this is great, and I'll talk to you about it in a second. But the first thing that I actually want you to consider is that just by being alive, so even if you were in your bed awake, just laying there, you're going to expend 60 to 75% of your daily calories, like just by being alive, because your body has metabolic processes. You're made up of trillions of cells that all require energy to function correctly, right? So 60 to 75%, bang, just by being here. Now, the another percentage is the thermic effect of food. So actually eating food also creates some caloric expenditure. It's only about 10% though, so don't get too crazy about that. You're not going to explode with caloric expenditure by eating certain foods. Okay, so that's a little bit silly. 10%, it's not that much. The next one is what we call NEAT, so non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is all the extra energy expenditure from being awake and moving around, etc., etc. Now this can contribute from 15% to 30% of daily expenditure. 30%. Now this is actually a large chunk of your energy expenditure. If you look at formal exercise, it might only account for 10%. So 30%, that's really good bang for your buck. Now, what we mean by NEAT is if you're at home, like me, stuck at home, you got to get up and go for a little bit of walk every hour on the hour. Just 2 minutes. Just move around. That's better than sitting on your butt. You can take your pet or your loved one and go for a walk. Again, doesn't have to be wild, doesn't have to be this 1 hour kind of bush walk, just 10 minutes. Just get some extra work in. If you're still at work, you might walk or ride your bike to work, or if that's not feasible, just park further away. So you just have a little bit of a longer walk into work. And all these little things, they add up. So 15% is kind of like your normal day-to-day expenditure, and you add these little extra pieces, all of a sudden you're burning an extra 15% of your daily energy expenditure just by moving a little bit more. Not even hard. Your heart rate's not even really going up. So this is great bang for your buck. It's a great return on investment. The last point I want to make here is focus on your food first, then think about exercise. So food is going to be the bigger contributor because that is the input. Yeah, we've just spoken about how you can easily add output without really even doing anything extra special in your day. But the input is quite critical. What's coming in is important. So exercise without a calorie deficit will not result in fat loss. So if you're like flogging yourself at home, obviously not in the gym anymore, but at home, or you're flogging yourself on the track, and then you're just eating like a pig, you are either likely going to stay the same weight, which is fine, maybe that's what you want, or you're going to start to gain body fat because you're going into a surplus, even though you're working really hard. And I mean, this is how you can gain muscle mass. You still need to train really hard to gain muscle mass, but you need to eat more. And with a little bit of that muscle gain will come a little bit of fat increase. I digress. Exercise definitely contributes to fat loss, but inadvertently. So it does a lot of other things for your body that eventually helps the idea of fat loss, but you can't just solely rely on exercise as a way to lose body fat. You need to keep exercising for other reasons, such as becoming stronger, feeling better, mobility, and just general well-being. So I'm not suggesting that you don't exercise, but you can't just solely rely on exercise. When I mean exercise, I'm formal kind of working out on the only thing that will help you lose body fat. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. There's a lot more that we could add to this, so I might make a part 2, but that's a pretty good start. Let me know what you think. Cheers. Have a good day.